Tshwane has a new mayor, but the Democratic Alliance's Cilliers Brink now has quite a task ahead of him. Let's get some detail now, and we speak to our colleague Govan Whittles, who has been in Tshwane for the last couple of days. Watching this story, Govan, good morning to you. It's the first mayor who is white post-1994. We had before him Muruno Makwarela, but a real mayor, really, before Makwarela, because Makwarela didn't even really take office for that long, Randall Williams. You asked this question of Cilliers Brink. What did he say to you when you said you are the first white mayor since 1994 leading the capital city?
He doesn't think too much of it. He does see the significance of it all, the fact that it's come full circle, and he believes that the fact that the Democratic Alliance had essentially recommended him for the position of mayor in a multi-party coalition, because that's what happened. It's not the other parties that agreed that Cilliers Brink should be the mayor candidate for the multi-party coalition. He was sent by the DA to be the candidate. Expresses a vote of faith, but also the fact that they've moved beyond race in his view. In the capital city. It is a significant pointer that we should mark down, though, because it is the first white mayor for the capital city since 1994 in Pretoria. And Cilliers Brink being clear and saying something quite interesting, saying he'll be a mayor of the people, that he'll be seen in the townships as well as in the suburbs. He's not going to make it about color. He's going to make it about service delivery. Only that's the DA line. It's one that we've heard a number of times.
Political consequences, Govan, of this period, this tumultuous period that Tshwane has had. What are some of those? And in my head, I have with me the fact that there's a speaker at council who does not belong to the DA-led coalition. That's a good thing, by the way, because the speakers, as the law dictates, they are supposed to be above the political leanings, if you like. But if the Speaker of the National Assembly can be accused of favoring the party from which she comes, which is the ANC, who's to say that Cilliers Brink is going to have an easy ride?
He might not, but then again, Mngedi Nzwanana may not be there as Speaker for much longer. Even yesterday in the council sitting, the EFF and ANC accusing the DA of not recognizing the Speaker, calling him a fraudulent Speaker. He was only elected there because the DA's councillors chose to, in that election for the Speaker, number their ballot papers instead of marking them with an X. Of course, now it comes to the political consequences. Before we move to that, interestingly, the IEC yesterday saying that during the election for the mayor, they'll use IEC stationery, which includes a standard black ballpoint pen. That was amid concerns that there may be some dissent if the councillors decided to mark with an X using color pens this time to see which councillor voted which way. But that really is the question.
But that was electoral fraud in its true essence. Is the IEC planning to take any further steps? Because that was a violation of the Electoral Code of Conduct, isn't it?
Well, the IEC marked those as spoiled ballots. Essentially, that's how it deemed those numbered votes. And the question is actually being raised by the EFF, which looks like it's poised to go to court here. Only they're saying that once you try to determine which councillor voted which way in a secret ballot vote, you may be infringing on the constitutional right to keeping your vote secret. And they're not only accusing the DA of infringing on this constitutional right in the voting for the Speaker, they're also accusing Action SA of violating it by conducting polygraph tests, the lie detector tests, on their councillors after Dr. Makwarela was elected mayor through what we know now was dissenting votes, at least 3 of them within Action SA. Some say the other 5 came from the DA. The DA haven't conducted those lie detector tests yet. It will be interesting to see what the results are.
Well, it has been a politically chaotic period, Govan, to say the least. Let's talk now about the way forward. So, 2 key issues that have got to happen. The mayor has to select his MMCs members of the mayoral committee. He also has to push for the budget to be passed in order for services to start flowing to the residents again.
They've got until the 14th of April to pass that budget. Yesterday on your show here on Newzroom Afrika, the Cooperative Governance MEC saying he was giving them 3 days to elect the mayor. Essentially, he's talking about getting Tshwane's house in order. They've passed the first hurdle, the election of the mayor. The next one is the adjustment budget. What's interesting is that it looks like every single member of the multi-party coalition voted for Cilliers Brink to become the mayor. With that majority, they could pass that adjustment budget. They're likely to put together an adjustment budget which focuses on the multi-party coalition's priorities, not pandering to the EFF at all. It'll likely be a one-sided budget. That's going to happen within the next week, we believe. What we're going to see in that adjustment budget is not only the topping up of money for services such as waste collection, the guarding of Tshwane's key infrastructure, which at certain points is the responsibility of the city, but service delivery such as fixing the water leaks across the city, and then, of course, trying to create some additional power capacity. Those are the issues we believe will dominate that adjustment budget. Then there's the issue of corruption. Looks like it's top of mind for Cilliers Brink. There's going to be some movement there.
Yeah. The selection of the mayor's cabinet, if we can put it that way. Cope is out. Who might likely fill that position? What should we expect in terms of the composition of the MMCs?
We shouldn't be surprised to see Ronald Morake from the ACDP taking an MMC position here. They're probably going to be brought into the mayoral committee in a much stronger way. Mr. Morake certainly believing that their 2 seats were now seen as crucial in the election of the mayor. In fact, all of the coalition partners were seen as crucial after Cope essentially left them. Yeah. Grande Tienezen from the Freedom Front Plus, just before that mayoral committee was dissolved, had made reference to a number of cases that he had begun to put together as the safety MMC. Corruption cases involving the Tshwane Metro Police, involving some corruption they'd uncovered within the city. The mayor seeming to prioritize the Rooival case. They also need to see whether or not the former mayor, Randall Williams, was guilty of the violation of the councillor's code of conduct by discussing that unsolicited Kratos consortium deal. Yeah. But another name we're likely to see creep in here is Jackie Ace from the DA. She's actually the coalition spokesperson for the multi-party coalition in Tshwane. Yeah. Has been playing a prominent role. But those are just what we're hearing are the initial considerations ahead of Cilliers Brink announcing his mayoral committee.
I'm sure the next council you're going to be watching with a keen eye is Ekurhuleni, but let's leave the conversation there. Govan Whittles, our reporter watching the space in Tshwane.